Hey guys, it's me, Base Libertarian, and I'm gonna tell you why Wheat Waffles' ideas, mainly on economics, is just awful. So let's get into it. Oh yeah, so I started a new YouTube channel. My original university email address got deleted by my university, and I don't have access to my new YouTube channel, so please subscribe. Anyway, um, a lot of people liked the video I made where I described Wheat Waffles as a scammer. And in the video I made, I pointed out a few things like Wheat's Looks Maxing course is about $50, and it's bullshit because he inserts his own bullshit valuation, where he says like everything in the course adds up to $400 because I say so, and it's otherwise it's really crap. He also has a overpriced face rating service. And it's overpriced because Wheat Waffles just copies and pastes the same responses every time when making a video. He copy and pastes the same responses on each of his face ratings because he's developed a template to make sure he gets more output of work done quicker. So recently, Wheat Waffles retired from YouTube, and he's also announced the release of a new book, which is available for pre-order. So far, he's made 300 copies. He's sold 300 copies in pre-order, and he's made $6,000. And a lot of people like myself are calling him a grifter. And you see a lot of comments in his videos and his community posts saying things like, "Guys literally makes thousands and increased his SMV, telling us we can't have girlfriends because of our low SMV, and bro is Black Pill Hamza, and great to see entrepreneurs making coin of a black pill." So there's three videos that I want to concentrate our attention towards. One is about where he says that anyone can get wealthy and buy a house even at minimum wage. Second and third is where he suggests that we should tax the childless to make people have more babies, which is a dumb fucking idea. So, on the first video he says, if you work a minimum wage job and you save like crazy and you find a romantic partner, you can be wealthy and buy a house. Well, how does that happen? Well, according to him, after tax, you can earn £18,500 of minimum wage. You can make £10,000 as a gig economy worker. He doesn't say how, by the way. And he also says that if you work in the gig economy, you can pay it completely in cash somehow. And so you don't need to pay any tax. And he says that if you do pay tax, then you're losing 30%, which is not true. You lose 20%.
Freedom that you would eventually reach if you did follow these steps perfectly. And the reason why you would earn 10k per year from this job, despite it being minimum wage again, is because you're going to get a cash in hand job. The tax rate if you're earning above 12.5k is 32% in this country. So don't get a second job where you're going to have something through the books and pay 32% tax on it.
And he also says that you should work 60 hours a week. And there's no problem working 60 hours a week because it's easy.
I felt like I could have done the entire thing afterwards, after I finished that 10-hour trip, all again if I wanted to, because it's easy. This isn't mental work where you're having to think and write programs or read text and all of this stuff, which is actually hard. Jobs like delivering stuff, waitering, and talking to customers, and any factory job or any minimum wage crap job like this, it's so easy. You could do it for 100 hours per week if you wanted to. It's really that simple, and you're never going to get tired of it because it's just so easy to do. You don't understand how lucky you are if you have one of these minimum wage jobs.
Here's a table where he breaks it down. 18k, 10k, 28k disposable, minus 13k living expenses, 15k is the result. But there's big problems here. There are very little jobs that pay cash in hand. Even the lowest level gig economy jobs pay electronically. The only jobs that pay in cash are pretty much like waiters, waitresses, and sex work. And with these jobs, with the other gig economy jobs, which are lower class, you have to pay taxes, and as we see in America, the IRS, and I imagine the equivalent to that in the UK, they're cracking down on these gig economy workers. And so, yeah, you're going to be taxed. The 10,000 goes down to 8,000. And working 60 hours a week is not feasible, because that's 12 hours a day. You're working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. You won't have any time to do anything else. You'll be exhausted. And, to make 10k on the side, let's assume that you earn £10 an hour, and you work 20 hours a week. You have to work 50 weeks a year, which means you get no holidays. You get 2 weeks off as holiday. And so if you revise my statistics, say you're working for 46 weeks a year, you get £22,000 a year, minus 13, you get 9,000 of savings a year, which is 60% of Wheat's 15,000. This is what happens to you. You end up bored. Find a partner. This is a bad idea. Your girlfriend's going to put pressure on you to spend money on useless crap like necklaces and presents and go to restaurants, blah blah blah. And also, this lies under the precondition of genetics. Listen, right, on YouTube, I've been described anywhere between a true cell and a high-tier normie. I can't get a girlfriend on Hinge. All I get is low-quality shit women. You're not gonna get a girlfriend if you are not a higher-tier normie. And if you are a higher-tier normie, you'd get a good job anyways because looks at everything. And let's be honest, who's gonna find a girl who loves saving money? Women love to waste money. Wheat gives a lot of logic towards saving up for a deposit and buying a mortgage and paying off a mortgage. This is fine. But there's one problem. To get this kind of house, you need a house outside of a city, which means you need a car. And a car costs £4,000 a year. So your disposable income is nuked. The numbers say that you need to spend at least £3,000. You need fuel. And you need fuel, which has been taxed more. Car taxes, which have been taxed more. And car insurance, which is always going up. And MOT and service and repairs, which is going up. And so ultimately, in the future, you're going to spend £4,000 a year on your car. Also, you need to buy the car. And so if you revitalize the maths, I've calculated here that you need to spend you get £6,700 in disposable income every year. Which means you get £600 a month. That means that if anything bad happens in 1 month, and that's it, you're gone. That's an entire month's of disposable income wiped out. So, we also talks about taxing the childless. This is just a stupid idea. Also, he wants women to be paid huge sums of money if they have children. Bad fucking idea. First of all, having more children should not be the ultimate goal that you should achieve by any and all means, because the economy is important. If people are taxed more, the economy is worse because there's less consumer spending, so there's less economic growth, and moreover, the private sector won't have any money to pay their employees and reinvest, because how can they spend more money if their consumer base has less money to pay for their products? Waffles is ultimately a Tradicon socialist, and I believe that the managerial economy, whether it's Keynesian or socialist economics, it leads to a disaster. As you see with Nazi Germany and the USSR, both civilizations run on manages allocating all resources, the economy does not work well. There are product shortages everywhere. The people suffer a lot, and the system inevitably collapses because nobody believes in it. And if we look at paying women to have children, it's a bad idea because women just have too many babies from a certain ethnic background. The kind of women who have babies for money are not the kind of women that you want raising the new generation. And they're not exactly going to be the British kind of people. And Waffles' idea is kind of pointless because it's all about paying for the boomers' pensions. The boomers statistically have enough wealth already. And the boomers should just be made to save up for their wealth and not be paid any pensions. And as Tails points out, the young people will start to realize that they don't need the boomers.
Lower IQs are more suited to more repetitive jobs. Under 87, is there something? Well, no. Right. That's a big problem. And it's something our society has not addressed at all. Jobs for people with IQs of less than 85 are very, very rare. So what the hell are those people supposed to do? It's 15% of the population. What are they supposed to do? Well, we better figure it out.
And lastly, I think we can't differentiate between actual power and words written on papers. In his mind, the working people or net taxpayers will be the slaves of the boomers, and it is the job of the taxpayers to simp for the boomers' needs. Since boomers are in the majority, they can raise their pensions infinitely, since we live in a democracy. However, boomers will in fact be completely useless to society at some point. They will be old people sitting in nursing homes with no actual power. If there is a 1-to-1 or even 0.5-to-1 worker to boomer ratio, that would mean that one boomer gets just as much money out of your paycheck than you are getting for yourself. At this point, it wouldn't make any sense anymore to stay in Britain. There would be black markets, people leaving the country, people refusing to work. Because the boomers are completely dependent on the working population. They are dependent on us, and we need nothing from them. Maybe for a while people would keep simping for the elderly people that are unable to defend themselves, that are unable to create any value, and that keep voting for their interests. But after a few years, everyone will realize that their masters are way weaker than themselves. If the boomers wanted large pensions, they should have made a large number of children. In conclusion, we think giving $250,000 to each woman for each child is a great idea, because someday those children will pay for the elderly. However, if we had $250,000 left over, we could just pay the elderly directly. It doesn't make any sense. Also, he doesn't acknowledge that many children will live of welfare forever, just like many migrants. Of course, he is way too afraid to ever talk about the average IQ of countries and the fact that some families aren't able to produce children that add value to society. He always has to keep his ethic fan base happy and of course make sure he is a good boy that YouTube likes to have on its payroll. That's why his political views are the same blue-pilled bullshit you will hear from most mainstream journalists. In my he is even worse than the mainstream because handing out $250,000 to women who get impregnated will make the worst kind of women have children. We desperately wants to create a system in which average young men pay for those low IQ breeding machines. There will be women that get constantly impregnated just to get more money from other people's labor. Imagine how $250,000 sound to a low IQ, low-skill breeding machine. Weed is creating a socialistic hell and doesn't even realize it, and then he has the audacity to say he is doing it for his nation. Which nation, bro? A nation of breeding machines and ethnics in which white and gals are slave to the socialist government.